Okay, this is Cheryl and Neil. I'm doing installment number 2 of my life story. In the prior story, I outlined from birth on up till I was about 4.5, almost 5 years old. Well, as I said in the last video, I lost my only sibling when he was 2 months old and I was 5 years old. The only time, again, I was able to hold him was right before they put him back in the casket. And that it did scar me for life. Well, I'm coming up to the point where I was 5.5 years old. Well, when I was about 5.5 years old, I started wetting the bed. Well, the way that Mom and Dad back in the 1960s thought to keep me from wetting the bed was to basically spank me. So, from the time I was about 5.5 up to the time I was around 12, every morning in my life, I either received a spanking via paddle, a bolo paddle, a belt, or a switch. And this happened every morning of my life that I was at home. When I spent the night with my grandmother, or we was off with a family function where they could hear my voice, basically that was about the only time that was not spanked. So I estimated I received over 1,911 spankings just for wetting the bed. Well, at age 12, my dad heard a rattling sound coming out of the bedroom, and at that point in time, I was caught having an epileptic seizure. Well, at that point in time, Mom and Dad saw at the end of the seizure that I was urinating on myself, and my mom and my dad, I could hear them saying to each other, saying, "My God, what have we done to this child?" Well, I was put on major amounts of phenobarbital at that time. Now, mind you, I had not only received spankings for having a wet bed, and they had hung my sheets out the window twice during my childhood, and basically everybody at school didn't want anything to do with me at that point in time. So I lived a pretty lonesome life at that time. Well, getting back to the spankings, I also got bad grades when I was in school. They said I was daydreaming. Well, believe it or not, I was having Jacksonian or petit mal seizures during the day, in which I looked like I was spacing out. Well, bad grades in school resulted in spankings, and the wetting the bed got more spankings. Well, getting up to the time I was around 12, they put me on high dosages of phenobarbital, and I stayed on those until I was about 20 years old. Started off with 4 a day, and then at the end of my taking them, when I received what I believe is a healing and a deliverance from God from epilepsy at the age of 20, just shy of 21, when I was taken off of all the phenobarbital, and then it changed my life. But during those years, I went through hell, and there's no way to put it. I was going through all of that on top of me having a gender identity issue, and I've had that all my life. As far as I can go back to 5 years old, I've always wanted to be I always knew I wanted to be a girl. So that's a part of the story that I just wanted to bring you up to snuff on and let you know that I went through hell as a kid. I went through hell alone as a kid, and it was not easy. But in installment number 3, I'll give you another nugget, and it will be a little bit happier than this one. So until the next installment, this is Cheryl Ann Neal telling you the story is continuing, and it's going to get better.